Mickey Duff, aka Monic Prager, also got called Morris. For me, I mean, Jim Watt said this to me, Duke McKenzie said this, Frank Warren said, the biggest influence British boxing has ever seen. Maybe Jack Solomon's or Harry Levine, but certainly in this lifetime. How did you come along with meeting the Afro Dodger?
I was going through the championships. I was boxing for
Mm,
England at the time, and my results was
yeah.
good.
ABA finals,
Yeah,
boxing for
area
England,
fine.
and
I'm boxing all over the world, and I winning a lot of fights by not finishing. And the ABA finals, I was approached after I got disqualified,
mm.
and Mickey Duff was one of them. I had a few other people too, CEOs,
Were
but
you
just
aware of who he was, though? Like,
yeah, I was always aware because I used to watch boxing always,
mm,
and Mickey Duff, Terry Lawless, and the rest of them. I always knew all of them, and even though they didn't know me, I knew of them,
mm,
and I was always interested in Mickey Duff. Anyways, Mickey Duff and Terry Lawless always appealed to me because I think they at the time had the biggest stars,
yeah,
and yeah, when I went to see Mickey, I think it was if I'd have known, I think I was going to sign with him anyway.
mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it just that went hand in hand with me and Mickey Duff.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say it, but I personally found out from my research in the last year, I've been eating, living, and sleeping Monic Prager, but you were the only fighter that, I mean, I've dug up from the archives of the week, Lennox Lewis saying I was considering going, but he wouldn't pay me any money. You were the only one that he actually, financially said, right, whatever, I want you. Do you know what I mean?
Which is good.
Yeah.
But I did something I wasn't prepared for that day. I didn't prepare myself because I went to the office
Wardour
and
Street.
Wardour Street,
Mm,
massive thing for me, for a fighter like me. And just to be sat there in his presence and the full office, Terry Lawless
mm,
over the road, just opposite. Jarvis to stay in the other room, massive. And and I said, I'll sign Mickey on conditions that you give me X amount of pounds.
mm,
And he said, well, I've never done this, Henry.
mm,
And I said, well, I'll have to look elsewhere
mm,
for business, if that's the right word. Anyway, we come to an arrangement, and he said, just don't bid me. Don't let
mm,
nobody else come in and put a bid, so I'm not going back. He said, let's do the deal now. And anyway, long story short, we'll bore you with it, but we done a deal. And I
mm.
was the only one, so
So, just trying to think. So, ABA is 89. You retired 98, was it? 99? So, you probably had, the best part of decade with him. Um, I personally think, what he did the 60s and the 70s. So, you kind of got him the back end of his,
yeah,
which no fault of your own,
yeah.
obviously, if you'd have been born earlier. I personally think Mickey Duff's peak years was the late 70s, early 80s. That was the golden era of boxing, your Tony Simpson,
Mm.
Alan Minters, all this kind of thing. He was basically the man in the industry, wasn't he? And if
Mm.
he disliked you, which he did hold a grudge, then he would hold a grudge against Michael Myers. You've only just got to ask the likes of Ambrose Mendy, but he obviously just worked well together. And what kind of person was he?
It was all right, it was Mickey. It was easy to get on, always easy to get on with. And
Funny?
yeah, they're funny. Because, there's some stories. That's for another day.
Mm,
God, we had some stories of Mickey Duff. We had some good times, and he was a fan.
yeah.
The thing with him, he seemed like he was a supporter of you, not just a business interest. I know he was a business interest.
Mm,
And I know we both worked well together, and we done well together. But he also come across as like a friend, the
yeah.
same as Terry Lawless and Denny Mancini.
I mean, you've
Good
only got
friends.
to. I watched so many of our fights this week, and what was it I watched last night? And he ran in, and you were celebrating, and it was almost as if he said, "Put your hands down." It was almost as if like, but act as if you're not surprised. But he was more excited than you. Do you know what I mean? You can
Mm.
see Denny Mancini, and and he's obvious. I mean, I personally, when I first started this book, I thought Duke McKenzie, his golden boy, almost a son, his second son. But then I interviewed you, and then I interviewed Billy Swear, and then he did have his favorite. He did have his
Yeah,
love
he
for
did.
his fighters,
He
didn't he? And
did.
obviously, you were one right up there.
He did. I think I think what it was with me. boxing's so hard, Jimmy, and I understand boxing. And I appreciate that winning, it's not easy to win. And you've also got to prepare yourself to potentially lose, especially the more you go up harder. And I realised the value of boxing. And I'd done it long and hard. I went over the world. And every time I won, if I was fortunate to win, I couldn't stop myself from being happy and joyful. A lot of them just walk around the ring like it's like it is what it is. No, but for me, I felt I couldn't stop. I couldn't contain myself because of the excitement. Because boxing's tough, and this is why this all record. It's all nice. It's fine that us all having that record, that perfect record. And so a lot of them spit the dummy out when they lose. The potential is the more we go on, the likelihood of us losing gets more likely. So I think we should just do what we can our best way, stick in and learn in the gym, and that you give yourself your best chance.
Do you know, these days, you see, like, Mayweather being a promoter, De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, Hattons tried it, Audley Harrison, but Mickey Duff was the first one. He was actually got in there, Boxing Rec says 40, he had 69 professional fights, 123 amateur fights. I think one of his quotes was, "I was a kind of jab and move guy, but sometimes I'd forget the jab." And Jim Watt said to me, he said his nose was like a proper pugilist.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You couldn't. He had sometimes he had to get special glasses because it was kind of slip off. But he just lived and breathed. I personally don't think, and Colin Hart said this to me as well, there'll never be another boxing man like him again. And these days, you've got people fighting for millions. They've never even fought English title level. Do you know what I mean? Where's the Commonwealth? And it's boxing's. Colin said to me he'd be turning in his grave if he was here. But no regrets looking back, Mickey.
No
Only
regrets.
speak of love for him. And
no, it's Mickey Duff always. And
because he gets a lot of bad press.
Me and him I go as long as anybody else with Mickey Duff. And as fighters. But for what I knew of Mickey, I got paid what I was supposed to get paid. Didn't rob me of any money. I don't know where it all comes from. And when you asked me the first time about Mickey Duff,
I mean, you got quite emotional at one point, and I could just see the love you had for him. Gary Jacobs told me, he said, "Listen, I boxed at so and so. I got paid £21,000 extra." He said he didn't have to do that. And but then there's the media out there who don't know him, and sometimes please and thank you doesn't cut the mustard. We're in this kind of boxing industry, this Neanderthal kind of. There's a lot of robbers in boxing as well, and he had to be the way he had to be as successful as he was.
He never gave me no extra money.
Yeah. But he done good by you.
Oh, he done good. I think we had a little bit of a blip when I boxed Ben.
Yeah.
Ben
I mean, you were the highest paid challenger ever.
That was it in the super middleweight history, I think it was.
Yeah.
At that time.
At that time, and that was incredible, really.
Yeah.
So he done good for you.
But what we got done with the overseas taxes, I think it was, whatever it was, so we had to pay a little bit more money out, which was, anyway, it happened.
Yeah, perfect.